For decades, the German army was feared across Europe. Its soldiers were disciplined, its commanders were respected, and its tactics revolutionized modern warfare. In the early years of World War II, Germany conquered country after country with shocking speed. Poland collapsed in weeks. France, considered one of Europe's strongest military powers, fell in just over a month. To the world, it seemed unstoppable. But what if the very thing that made Germany so powerful at the beginning of the war was also the reason it ultimately failed? This is the story of how the German army's greatest strength became its biggest weakness. At the heart of Germany's military success was a doctrine that emphasized speed, flexibility, and aggressive action. German officers were trained differently from many of their opponents. They were encouraged to take initiative, adapt to changing situations, and act independently without waiting for orders from higher headquarters. This concept was known as mission command. Instead of commanders dictating every movement, German leaders gave subordinates a clear objective and trusted them to figure out how to achieve it. This created an army capable of moving faster than its enemies could react. During the invasion of Poland in 1939, German forces used coordinated attacks involving tanks, aircraft, and infantry. The speed of these operations overwhelmed Polish defenses. Only months later, Germany launched its attack against France. The French expected a repeat of World War I. They prepared for a long defensive struggle behind fortified lines. But Germany had different plans. German armored divisions pushed through the Ardennes forest, a region many Allied commanders believed was unsuitable for large tank formations. The gamble paid off. German troops advanced so rapidly that Allied command structures struggled to understand what was happening. Entire armies found themselves surrounded. Within weeks, France surrendered. Military analysts around the world praised German operational brilliance. The German army appeared to possess a perfect formula for victory: speed, initiative, aggression, decentralized leadership. These strengths allowed Germany to defeat opponents that often possessed equal or even superior resources. However, these advantages contained hidden dangers. The German military culture rewarded offensive action. Commanders who moved boldly were celebrated. Officers who hesitated risked criticism. Over time, success reinforced the belief that rapid offensives could solve almost any strategic problem. Victories in Poland, Norway, the Low Countries, France, Yugoslavia, and Greece seemed to confirm this assumption. German leaders increasingly believed they had discovered an unbeatable method of warfare. But early victories can create dangerous illusions. The campaigns Germany fought between 1939 and 1941 were relatively short. Supplies did not need to travel vast distances. Fuel consumption remained manageable. Equipment losses could be replaced. Troops could recover between operations. Yet the German army had never been designed for a prolonged global conflict. Germany lacked the industrial capacity of the United States. It lacked the vast manpower reserves of the Soviet Union. Its economy was not fully prepared for a war lasting many years. Despite these limitations, Germany's military leadership continued to think in terms of short campaigns. Then came 1941, Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. It was the largest military operation in history. More than 3 million German soldiers crossed the border. Thousands of tanks advanced eastward. Aircraft filled the skies. At first, German tactics once again produced stunning results. Soviet armies suffered enormous losses. Hundreds of thousands of prisoners were captured. Entire regions fell into German hands. Observers believed Soviet resistance would collapse within months. German commanders expected victory before winter. But the Soviet Union was unlike any opponent Germany had faced. Its territory stretched across thousands of kilometers. Its population was enormous. Factories were moved eastward beyond German reach. New armies continued appearing, despite catastrophic losses. As German forces advanced deeper into Soviet territory, their greatest strength began creating serious problems. German units moved so quickly that supply lines struggled to keep up. Fuel shortages became common. Ammunition deliveries slowed. Vehicles broke down from constant use. Road networks were poor. Railroad systems used different gauges. Repair crews could not keep pace with mechanical failures. German operational speed now exceeded logistical capability. The army could win battles faster than it could sustain itself. Divisions found themselves hundreds of kilometers ahead of supply depots. Troops sometimes paused not because enemy resistance stopped them, but because they lacked fuel. The very aggressiveness that had delivered victory now created vulnerability. German commanders constantly pushed forward. Retreat was viewed as weakness. Pausing to consolidate gains was often considered unacceptable. This mindset contributed to overextension. By late 1941, German soldiers faced freezing temperatures without adequate winter clothing. Equipment malfunctioned. Engines froze. Weapons jammed. Men exhausted by months of continuous combat struggled to continue. The expectation of a quick victory had shaped planning decisions. When that victory failed to materialize, weaknesses became increasingly visible. Another issue emerged. Germany's decentralized command system depended heavily on experienced officers. Initiative worked well when skilled leaders were available. However, years of intense fighting caused severe casualties among veteran commanders. Replacing them became difficult. New officers often lacked the same level of training and experience. At the same time, political interference grew. Adolf Hitler increasingly involved himself in operational decisions. He distrusted withdrawals. He ordered troops to hold positions regardless of circumstances. The flexibility that had once distinguished the German army slowly diminished. Local commanders lost freedom to adapt. Decision-making became centralized. Orders came from above even when conditions on the battlefield changed dramatically. Germany found itself trapped between two contradictory systems. Its military tradition emphasized initiative. Its political leadership demanded obedience. This tension weakened effectiveness. Meanwhile, Germany's enemies learned from earlier defeats. The Soviet military studied German tactics carefully. Red Army commanders improved coordination between tanks, artillery, and infantry. Production expanded dramatically. Factories produced thousands of tanks and aircraft. Soviet commanders became increasingly capable. By 1943, Germany no longer enjoyed the same qualitative advantages it had possessed at the start of the war. Battles became wars of attrition. Industrial capacity mattered more than tactical brilliance. Replacement rates became critical. Fuel supplies determined mobility. Production numbers influenced outcomes. These were areas where Germany faced enormous disadvantages. The German army excelled at winning operational victories. But winning campaigns is not the same as winning a long industrial war. Consider the Battle of Kursk in 1943. German commanders planned another decisive offensive. They hoped superior tactics and elite formations would restore the initiative. Yet delays allowed Soviet defenses to become exceptionally strong. Massive minefields covered the battlefield. Anti-tank guns waited in prepared positions. Reserve forces stood ready. German troops fought skillfully. Many individual units achieved local successes, but they could not achieve a decisive breakthrough. Attrition favored the Soviets. Every lost German tank was difficult to replace. Every experienced crew member represented years of training. Germany's strengths had become increasingly dependent on highly trained personnel and complex equipment. Such advantages were difficult to sustain in a prolonged conflict. As the war continued, shortages worsened. Fuel became scarce. Pilot training hours decreased. Tank crews received less preparation. Infantry divisions shrank in size. Veteran soldiers disappeared. The German military system had been built around quality. Its enemies increasingly relied on quantity supported by expanding industrial power. Germany's strength was excellence. Its weakness was dependence on excellence. An army designed to move rapidly now lacked fuel. An army famous for initiative operated under rigid political constraints. An army dependent on elite troops could no longer replace its losses. An army built for short campaigns found itself fighting a global war lasting nearly 6 years. By 1944, Allied bombing campaigns further damaged German industry. Transportation networks suffered. Factories faced disruption. Supplies reached the front more slowly. The Wehrmacht still fought effectively in many battles. German soldiers continued demonstrating remarkable tactical ability. Yet tactical skill alone could not overcome strategic realities. The same military culture that encouraged bold action had also encouraged excessive risk-taking. The same confidence created by early victories fostered unrealistic expectations. The same operational brilliance encouraged leaders to believe that military skill could compensate for economic weakness. It could not. Germany's downfall was not caused by a lack of courage, nor was it caused by a lack of talent. Many German commanders were exceptionally capable. Many soldiers fought with determination under extremely difficult conditions. But military strengths can become liabilities when circumstances change. Speed without logistics leads to exhaustion. Aggression without restraint leads to overextension.